It has begun. The Hot Toys Ahsoka line is here. Hot Toys Grand Admiral Thrawn is here with the just released blogger images. This figure is now officially released. I'm going to be giving you my reaction to it. Let's jump into it. So this Ahsoka line from Hot Toys is a much anticipated line. I know a lot of people are excited about it, myself included. Grand Admiral Thrawn being the first official release we get from this line is pretty amazing. I'm not going to lie. It is a Star Wars villain. I know a lot of people are excited to get this version of Thrawn into their collections. And we're going to just take a look at these blogger images that were just released by Hot Toys. Here is Grand Admiral Thrawn looking strategic. You know what I mean? He's looking strategic, and I can already tell you right now, we're just gonna talk about my first initial thoughts of this. The tailoring is fantastic. All right, the tailoring is absolutely fantastic. I think that this is looking really good. I think that this figure was going to be made or broke with the tailoring, and the tailoring looks really good. We're going to look at more images down the line, but this first one, I can just tell you that looks awesome. You can also see the and again, this could be lighting from the prototype images, but the blue looks a lot richer. It looks a lot darker. It looks a lot more accurate to me. I really like this blue right here on the head sculpt. I just think they really did a great job with the paint applications. You can just tell with this head sculpt here, you can kind of see the like under the chin right here, just looks like all of this, man, just looks so realistic, you know, because we all know, man, if you've had to wear a suit or whatever, you button it all the way up to the top, you kind of get this, like, you know, it kind of rests a little bit on that that collar, and you can kind of see that right there. So that's just really cool. I just think it looks great. So just based on this first image, and we're going to look at the rest of them. Based on this first image, this release is looking really good and looking even better than the prototype did so far. So we're going to kick it over to the next one. Here he is right here, man. Just more strategery from Thrawn. I mean, look, this is a figure that I like to call this no-brainer character. Like, when people ask you, hey, are you going to get this character? They just look at you and like, yeah, that's no-brainer. It's Thrawn. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I feel about how a lot of people are thinking about this figure. Like, unless this just came out looking terrible, people have already decided if they're picking up a Thrawn or not. I think that this is one that you already know you're getting or you're not. You know, I think this Ahsoka line is going to test a lot of people's what are necessary to have for that line. You know, if you love all the characters and you got to get all the line, cool. If you're a real big Rebels fan, if you're a real big fan of Ahsoka, like, which ones are you getting, which ones are you not? But I think with Thrawn being a Star Wars villain, I feel like that is going to be very interesting to see how collectors are going to prioritize that line. And I think Thrawn is definitely priority for a lot of people. And this just looks really good. Like, you can kind of see the pins right there, or whatever those things are. You can kind of see the rank. You know, just everything here. This white / cream colored. You know, this I don't want to call it a costume, but I guess it is a costume. But I can't think of the word right now. But it just looks really good. And we're gonna kick it over to the next one. Here he is with some battle plans here, or like a I guess that's I mean, it's really not an iPad, but you know what I'm trying to say. And this just looks really good. The hair sculpt looks really good. The aging on the face looks good. Again, this one's going to be a shorter one, just because I don't want to sound redundant over and over, because this figure is really made with the tailoring and with the head sculpt. It is a very standard figure. You're only getting a few accessories. You're not getting a crazy base with this, and the posability is not going to be crazy for this. I can already tell, and it's just one of those ones that, you know, I think it's you know, I think it's going to be made on that head sculpt, and so far so good. And again, first figure out of the much anticipated line of Ahsoka. Right here, you can kind of see more of the tailoring here, and we're going to hide this real quick because I want to show you the whole figure here if I can. So you can kind of see this right here with the different looks here. You got this pistol that he has right here, this blaster. The belt looks really solid. Yeah, man, I just think it looks good. Like, it's exactly what you want. These blogger images are cool. This one's really cool with the background here. This looks really good. Right here, these are the images that are like speaking to me a little bit more. Like, I kind of like him looking over like this, these battle plans, the ship blueprint, this, the 3D imagery of the ship and all this different stuff. I like seeing this right here. It kind of gives you that feel of that he's, I've said it a million times, but strategizing, you know what I mean? And so, for me, I think that this is how a lot of people are going to have it in the display. This is an accessory that I feel like a lot of people may or may not use, but if you are going to have this type of thing and you're going to have less of a museum pose and more of like you want to kind of recreate a scene, then I think you could do a lot worse than this. Right here is, I think a lot of people look, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I just think that this is the type of pose that I can see a lot of people going with. This seems like to be the pose that Hot Toys is like, hey, we gave Thrawn some articulation, but you're pretty much going to only be able to put his hands behind his back. And, we want to make sure that you can do that pose. But again, that's how his character was presented in a lot of the scenes. And I think that a lot of people will be happy with that. So that's really cool, man. And, this tailoring and stuff, it reminds me a lot of the director Krennic, that type of character where you have just this great tailoring, the great colors on this outfit here. And, yeah, man, again, the figures is going to be, it's going to come down to those two things. And I think that so far so good, like I said before. But the question we're going to ask, though, is we're going to say, what do we think about this Thrawn likeness? And just my personal opinion, I think they knocked it out of the park. I think this looks just like the actor from the show. They did a great job with the aging around the eyes. You can see right here, the eyes, the rolling eyeball function is going to be really, really cool. Thrawn's got that great, he's menacing without having to do anything. It's his stature. It's his quiet confidence. It's his, always being a step or two ahead of everything, and I think that that's really cool to have that in the display. And, yeah, so for me, the likeness, you can kind of see it right here as well. Another really cool pose right here. Again, this is kind of what you're seeing with the poses. And again, you don't want Thrawn to be doing all kinds of stuff anyway. So I think that for me, it is kind of more of a museum pose type of figure anyway, which is going to be great to kind of, I don't know how well this material stands over time. I'm sure it does great. I don't know what it does with if you did too much articulating with the arms and stuff. That's why I see a lot of people doing the backwards, the hands behind the back. This one's really cool too. But yeah, the likeness is spot on for me. I think the likeness is really, really good. And I think that, again, if you like this version of the character and you like the prototype, you got to be excited, because I think this actually looks even a little bit better than the prototype does. The blues just look a lot more deep, and the paint apps look a little bit better than they did in that, in those prototype images. And then the next thing we're going to talk about accessories. Does this figure come with enough for the price of $260? So again, this price on Sideshow is $260. That's before shipping and tax and all that stuff. And you're basically getting a blaster. You saw what you got. You're getting that ship accessory, and you're also getting maybe a couple of different hands, and you're also getting that we're just going to call it an iPad for today. He comes with that space iPad, and you got to ask yourself, is that what I want for $260? And I think the answer is simple. It's look, with all these figures kind of reaching over, getting into the $350 territory, because they come with a great base, or they come with this or that, I'm actually relieved we're getting just a standard release of a figure right at $260, an iconic character in Thrawn. So for me, I do personally think it probably does come with enough for that $260 price tag, especially it being a character like Thrawn, especially it being Star Wars. And again, I can't stress enough, it's just nice to get a standard release, nothing that's got 5 different options. And again, I love that stuff, but to have a standard release, man, it kind of helps with just, hey, am I getting it or am I not? You don't have to worry about, should I get this version? Should I get this version? Do I really want to spend $400 all in? So this one, like I said, $260 before tax and shipping on Sideshow. That's up to you whether you think it's worth it or not. But I do think with what you get for the figure, based on what I see, I do think it is worth that $260 price point, based on everything. So we're gonna go to some more images here, and again, this is kind of what I was talking about with this is just a standard. And I don't want to discount it, because again, standard makes it sound like I'm just saying, hey, it's just your run-of-the-mill release. This is a big character. This is a line that I think is just going to be This line of figures, man, is going to be wild because like people are going to have to decide, am I going all in? If I can't go all in, how many figures do I need from this line? Thrawn, I think, since he is a villain, I could see Thrawn being in a lot of people's collections. You see that accessory right there. This is a great image right here. So I take back kind of what I said about, man, I don't know. I think you're just going to have him in a museum. This is a great, great way to display him as well. I really like that a lot. I think that looks fantastic personally. And, yeah, I really like that. So you kind of seeing the different hands right there as well. It probably comes with a couple different hands. You can refer back to the prototype images to kind of find out what it all comes with. But that's a great image right there. This is another great image. Just the rolling eyeballs gives you different looks, gives you different emotions, as much as you can with a figure like this. And I really like the way that looks as well. Again, here he is right here with some battle plans on his space iPad. But that's a really cool look too, man. That's what I'm saying. You get a blaster, you get this space iPad, you get the tailoring, you get this top-notch head sculpt. You're getting that standard base. So again, man, this is just a straight out of the box, put it on the shelf type of figure. You're not gonna have to mess with it too much. It's just gonna be all the guesswork is out of it. It's, hey, I got Thrawn, now he's on the shelf. And to a lot of people that's appealing, and to me it is too. Here he is with the blaster. Just, this is just a really cool shot right here. He's just finally got the blaster. He's like, you know what, I've been strategizing too long, man. Sometimes the best strategy is just to pull a blaster out. You know what I mean? So that's how, this is like fan fiction now. But right here with more of the iPad look. And again, I think these photos are good. I think they did a good job with these photos because the thing about these photos that I really like, we get some of these blogger images and they have incredible like backdrops and they have incredible scenes and kind of makes you feel like this. With Thrawn, I think they're doing a really good job of showcasing the figure. Like look how everything behind him is just showcasing the highlights of this figure. And at the end of the day, man, these blogger photos are meant to kind of show off the figure, but as well, I mean, they're Hot Toys officially released blogger images, so they're wanting to present the high selling points for this figure. And I think they're doing a really good job with these blogger photos, showing you like, hey, this is why you want this figure. You want this head sculpt, you want this rolling eyeball function, you want this great tailoring. This is why you're here. And we got some really cool image right here as well. So we got some more stuff right here eventually, and that looks really good too, man. Again, this is just a figure, man, that's going to have a lot of presence on it, where you wouldn't anticipate it based on these images. Like, this is going to be such a cool integral part of your Ahsoka display if you're really going all in on the line, where I feel like you're getting just a iconic Star Wars villain. And in the Ahsoka show, you could argue that we haven't even scratched the surface with what we're going to get from Thrawn. I think in further seasons, we're going to get a lot more Thrawn, a lot more of like what makes Thrawn great. But I still think they did a pretty good job with his character. But man, you can't deny how good the head sculpt turned out for me personally. I mean, if you look at this compared to the blogger photos, again, it could be lighting, but man, that head sculpt looks really, really good. Tailoring looks great. Kind of see it right here, man. That's just a solid. I mean, this is a solid release. This is one that if you were excited before, you're excited now. Look at all this, man. This is really cool with the Ahsoka behind them. That's a cool version. Kind of comes with this. So this is a great display option as well. So I'm gonna keep reminding myself, hey, you know what? You thought you saw the best version. You thought you saw the best pose. Not so fast, my friend. Look at this, and that looks amazing. I think that's a great option as well for people. Him right here, he's like, yeah, I'll stop playing some iPad games to listen to what you have to say, but I'm already 5 steps ahead. I'm Thrawn. That looks really cool, man. So this is the first time we're kind of seeing it from this angle. That looks really, really good. This accessory right here, I think this is really good. This isn't going to light up or anything, but I do like how there's some stuff on there. It's not just like a blank screen. I really do like that, and I believe we're back to the front. Yeah, so we're back to the front. So this is a great time to do my final thoughts, and it's, am I picking this one up? How do I think the figure turned out based on the officially released blogger photos? So for me, am I picking this one up? That's a great question, because Thrawn is one that, and if you want to check this video out, I did a rankings of the Ahsoka line, like how hyped I am for each figure and which ones. Thrawn was like at that point, without giving it away, he's at a point in the list where he's high up, but it's at that point in the list where, like, after Thrawn, it's like that's when you decide how much deeper you're going into the line. So for me, I do plan on picking Thrawn up. I actually don't have Thrawn pre-ordered, so I probably need to do that. But I am unsure when I'm picking Thrawn up. Like, I have so many things coming out personally, like so many pre-orders that are being fulfilled that and I get it, it's Thrawn. I know that he's a must-have figure if you're, if you're getting the Ahsoka line. I just don't know when that's going to be. It's kind of, I don't want to get on here and say, like, yeah, day one pickup, getting them, and then, like, me have to be, months later be like, yeah, I still don't got that Thrawn. So for me, I do think this is one I'm eventually going to be picking up. This is one that I don't currently have pre-ordered, oddly enough, from the Ahsoka line. But it is one that I am definitely going to be thinking about picking up because, again, it's a villain in the show. I think he's going to really be looking great on the display. And the other question is, how do I think the figure turned out? I think it turned out really well. I think that this is a really solid, good release. I don't think it's like this game breaker or this game changing release. I think it did exactly what it was supposed to do. They said, you know what, we're going to give you a standard Thrawn. We're going to just give you a Thrawn that looks great on the shelf, that you can take right out of the box and put on the shelf, and it looks fantastic. We're going to give you a little bit of a taste of what's coming from this Ahsoka line. And if this is the type of quality we're going to get, man, we're in good hands with this line because this figure looks really good. I think they did a great job with it, and I think it is one that if you were excited about the figure from the prototype images, you're even probably more excited now after seeing these blogger photos. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. We're going to switch me back over to full screen so I give you the outro here. So that's what I think about the Hot Toys Grand Admiral Thrawn just released blogger images. That's my reaction to the release. Let me know in the comments below if you're picking this one up. Let me know if you are picking this up. When is it something you've had pre-orders? Is it something you're going to wait down the line to maybe get? Is it something you now, after seeing these blogger images, you got to get now? Let me know in the comments below. Definitely want to hear your thoughts below. As always, thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.